It was a warm May morning in 2025 in Ouagadougou, Burkina Faso. The presidential office was quiet, save for the hum of air conditioning and the rustle of morning reports. President Ibrahim Traoré, just 35 years old, sharp-minded and fiercely respected across Africa, sat reviewing economic data when his phone rang. The caller ID read, "White House." "Mr. President," said an assistant breathlessly. "It's the President of the United States." Ibrahim raised an eyebrow and took the call. "Traoré here." Donald Trump's unmistakable voice came through, loud and informal. "Ibrahim, my friend, hope you're doing great. Listen, I want you on Fox News tonight. We're having a talk about trade, international tariffs. I thought you could join, help clarify a few things." Ibrahim sat up straighter. "On what subject exactly, Mr. President?" "Tariffs. Look, my new tariff policy is shaking up the game, and I think people are misinterpreting it. You're a modern African leader. Come and show the world that Africa's on board with America." Ibrahim's tone cooled. "With due respect, Mr. President, these tariffs have been hurting African exports severely. They're disrupting trade and threatening jobs." Trump chuckled dismissively. "That's the cost of winning, Ibrahim. America comes first. You know, business is war." "I know business," Ibrahim replied calmly. "But I also know justice." "Great," Trump concluded. "See you on live TV tonight. Tucker Carlson will moderate. You'll get great exposure." The call ended abruptly. Ibrahim looked out his window toward the bustling city. Moments later, he summoned an emergency cabinet meeting. "We have a unique opportunity," he told his ministers. "The American president has invited us into the lion's den. We will not go unprepared." Foreign Minister Dr. Alans Ouedraogo leaned forward. "Sir, President Trump is known for his unpredictability. He may try to trap or embarrass you. Then we'll come armed, with facts, numbers, and dignity." Economy Minister Fatimata Sawadogo presented a grim briefing. "The tariffs have reduced our cotton exports by 67%, gold by 45%, and agricultural goods by 52%. That's a $2.3 billion hit and 347,000 jobs, mostly in rural communities, are on the line." Ibrahim reviewed the data silently. Then he looked up. "Let's speak the truth on live television." Across the Atlantic, preparations were far more casual. In the White House, Trump swaggered into the room. "So we've got this kid from Africa joining the show. It'll be a breeze." His economic advisor looked concerned. "Mr. President, Traoré is no pushover. He's Oxford educated, speaks 5 languages, and knows trade law inside out." Trump waved it off. "He's 35. I've been making deals longer than he's been alive. Relax." The evening of May 23, 2025 arrived. The world watched in anticipation as Fox News went live. Tucker Carlson opened with intensity. Tonight, an unprecedented event, a live debate between US President Donald Trump and Burkina Faso's President Ibrahim Traoré. The subject, US tariffs and their global impact. The screen split. Trump sat confidently in the White House. Ibrahim appeared calm and poised in his presidential office. Tucker began, "President Trump, your tariff policies have been controversial. What's your response?" Trump leaned forward. "Tucker, these tariffs are genius. They bring jobs back to America. They force fair trade. Finally, we're not getting ripped off." Carlson turned to Ibrahim. "President Traoré, how do these tariffs affect Burkina Faso?" "Mr. Carlson, while we respect America's sovereign right to protect its interests, the reality is these tariffs have devastated economies like ours. Partners shouldn't cause harm." Trump interrupted. "Come on, Ibrahim. Business is about winners and losers. We've been losing. I'm just correcting the imbalance." Ibrahim nodded. "And that correction is pushing loyal partners to look elsewhere." "Where exactly?" "China, Russia." "Yes, Mr. President, Since your tariffs began, China increased African imports by 340%, Russia by 180%, and the EU by 290%. Trump's smirk twitched. Ibrahim's team displayed graphs live on air. Charts showed China offering 23% higher prices for cotton, Russia purchasing gold at premium rates, and the European Union abolishing tariffs altogether on African goods. But these countries, Trump protested, they're unstable. They can't sustain those numbers. They've already signed 15-year contracts, and most importantly, they treat us as equals. Trump shifted uncomfortably. We've invested billions in Africa. Where's the gratitude? Mr. President, gratitude is not a blank check. Trump flared. You were exporting raw materials and buying back finished goods. That's fair trade. That's economic colonialism, Ibrahim countered. We sold cotton for pennies. You sold us shirts for dollars. Trump's face reddened. We brought technology, infrastructure. You brought dependence, and your tariffs made that dependence unbearable. The tension tightened. Trump snapped. Without America, you'd still be watch your words, Mr. President, Ibrahim said. The world is watching. Trump's expression turned cold. You Africans always blame others. Maybe if you worked harder. The silence was deafening. The racial undertone hung in the air. Ibrahim inhaled deeply. Thank you for your honesty. You've just confirmed our deepest fear, that these policies are not about economics, but control. Tucker tried to diffuse the tension. President Traoré, can you share how your country is adapting? Certainly. Since diversifying trade, our economy has grown 12.3%. Poverty has dropped 34%. We've built 2,470 schools and 73 hospitals. Trump scoffed. All with our help, with our resources, sold cheaply to American firms. Your help came at a cost, Ibrahim continued. Now China helps us build textile factories. Russia shares mineral tech. The EU invests in renewable energy. Trump leaned forward. They'll abandon you. If they do, it won't be worse than being treated like beggars. You're being used. No, Mr. President. We were used by you. Ibrahim signaled his staff. On screen appeared a leaked US Commerce Department memo. Weeks before your tariffs, we intercepted internal plans revealing your intent to push African nations into economic submission. Trump looked shaken. We gathered 34 African nations and built a contingency. Within 72 hours of your tariffs, we activated an emergency trade network with China, India, Brazil, and the EU. We offset 95% of American losses. Trump tried to interrupt. This is fake, signed by your own secretaries. Dated, stamped, and authenticated. Carlson turned. President Trump. Your response? Trump looked stunned. These are manipulated numbers, Ibrahim replied. They're public records, verified globally. You didn't just lose a trade partner, you lost a continent. Trump exploded. You're still dependent. Not anymore, Ibrahim said. Your tariffs did us a favor. They forced us to seek commercial dignity. Carlson, sensing history unfolding, asked, what's your message to America? Ibrahim looked into the camera. We respect America, but respect is mutual. Tariffs that hurt the weak, to benefit the strong reveal, not leadership, but fear. We wish to partner, but not as servants. Trump muttered. You don't understand the pressure. I do. But great leaders don't isolate their nation to win elections. They build legacies. Your policy isn't America first. It's America alone. Trump shut off his camera. Ibrahim waved politely. Good night, America. The fallout was immediate. Trump's approval rating plunged by 23%. Cable news ran the debate for days. A CNN analyst called it the turning point of the administration. A year later, Trump lost re-election. Voters cited the debate as a humiliation. Burkina Faso, meanwhile, soared. GDP up 15%. African exports diversified. South-South trade expanded at record levels. In Ouagadougou, business owners celebrated. Our president didn't just defend our economy, he defended our dignity. Ibrahim declined all private meetings with Trump. This isn't personal, this is about principle. At the United Nations, Ibrahim addressed world leaders. True leadership isn't about dominating others, it's about building futures together. Respect is not given by tariffs. It's earned by character. The world applauded. A new geopolitical era had begun, and at its center was a young African leader who stood tall when the world least expected it.